That's all I
Copy
can
that.
say on that.
So your fines here are relatively low considering the number of charges. You're looking at a $15,000 fine. Most of your charges seem to be pretty non-violent. However, once stacked, the time does feel like a lot. You are being sentenced to 120 months of rehabilitative services at the state correctional facility. You will be billed and processed immediately following the conclusion of the sentence. Officer Needles, please process this individual.
Hey, yo, free Jimmy.
Gotcha.
God damn, son. Look at James is still outside
Next,
the window.
we call one Mr. Dakota Boswell to the stand. Mr. Dakota Boswell present today.
Say something about smoking drugs.
Look at Mr. Dakota Boswell.
Mr. District Attorney, please let it be known that Mr. Dakota Boswell has chosen violence instead of due process. As a result, I am putting the full weight of the LSPD to find this man to serve said justice.
Oh, shit.
You will have a bench warrant by the end of the proceeding, sir.
Next, we have the People versus James Richards on 2 cases. Is Mr. James Richards still here?
He's outside because they told him outside. Hey, he's outside because they told him to get outside.
Is he still on the communication channel?
Pretty sure I just seen him dead.
I do not see anybody outside.
Aren't you supposed to be in the back of the court?
He baked it.
Swing
Don't
your
worry.
arms like that. Fuck away from me. Get your ass out of here before I slap the shit out you. Need to take your ass to. You know what? I'm tired of your shit.
Is Mr. Richards for sure not here?
I'm calling him.
No. I tried to give it to you before. It ain't your fault.
Hey, yo, Eddie. Hey, yo, Eddie.
Anyways.
Yo.
Hey, yo, cuz. James.
Where is he?
Hey, yo, cuz.
Is Mr. Richards choosing to not come to court today? Is that where we're at?
He'll be back in 5 minutes, he said.
Your Honor,
The court
I'm
will grant
okay.
him a 5-minute
Yep.
5-minute recess. If he chooses to not show up before we conclude today, we will hold him in contempt in addition to his active charges.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Court's on a 2-minute recess.
Oh boy, you good?
$88, you said?
Yeah, 88.
All right, done. DA, let's go to case
Hello.
number
Why isn't this working?
Hello. Go to which one?
Hi.
1. Case number 1. We'll work through the list this way until
Okay.
Richards gets back.
I just called Richards. He says he needs 10 minutes, but I told him 5, so he'll be here hopefully in 5.
All right, we got a few cases to go through. He should be able to get here.
Yeah. Yeah. He said he needs 10 minutes, but I told him 5, so.
Excuse me, Mr. District Attorney.
Oh, keep doing that.
Hi, sir.
Do you think those reports were well written for yourself to read at court?
I'd have to look at him. Young man.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, if you have any complaints about it, make sure to let me know or higher up, please, so that I can write them better in the future. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey.
If we need you on the stand, stay close.
Hey, don't let those 3 guys with the mask come back in.
Mo's already been warned. If he comes back in with a mask, I'm gonna ask him one more time, and if he does not do it immediately, I'm gonna hold him in contempt and take him out.
Yeah, no. I asked him. This is
I've
the
asked him
3rd
myself
time.
3 times.
I've asked him 3rd time.
800
So don't let them come in at all. Don't let, all 3 of them. Don't let them come in.
What if they come in listening this time?
Well, I'll detain them.
Can I get you guys to just search the building around the upstairs a little bit?
Yes, ma'am.
Make sure no one's. Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
There's a lot of movement in here. fell into that, Mr. DA.
Did you just grab my butt? Please don't do that.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. It's like a bag of mashed potatoes.
There we go. How about now? Putting out
Oh,
the
yeah.
vibes.
That's like a baked potato.
Don't act like you're not impressed back there, fellas. See those glutes?
Stunned.
Do we have anybody for prison right now?
Whoa. Yeah, we had people. It was just me and the two cadets in Dover.
Didn't I see Jasper?
Oh, and Connor O'Connor. Jasper was here. He popped his head because he said he was having issues. I don't know if he's coming back. How quick he's
Okay.
coming back.
All right.
Yeah, there was barely enough of us here earlier. I gave X and the other one their blue lights. They know their stuff. They're
Cool.
good.
Did they do well?
Yeah, they did great. They know they're
Good.
good for a fact. I definitely
'Kay.
give it, and then I'd like to ask some questions again as we're going to the clothing store.
Good. Good.
Court will resume in 30 seconds.
Your Honor, I know we've got a little bit on the docket, so if he's not here, I bet we could go through a few of them.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start with case number 1.
Yeah,
Mr.
he'll-
Dakota Bob?
Call my
He'll
name yet?
probably end up being the last one.
Yeah, no. Ignore me
Miss-
then. Cool.
Mr. Boswell made it. Mr. Boswell, how are you, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah, you
I
cut
tried
out.
to message Xander. Let him
No
know
problem,
I
brother.
was having some problems.
No problem. Go ahead and have a seat, and we'll call you up, all right?
Alright, y'all didn't give me no warning, did you?
No, that doesn't happen until after court, so you got time, bro. You're
Oh,
good.
okay, cool. Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Did you inform Mr. Boswell about
Radio
station
311.
Yo.
Did he fly in?
Boggles for life. Boggles for
Yep.
prop.
Just a reminder, everybody,
Perfect.
try to
On
stay
radio
quiet on
311.
311, okay?
311.
I don't have a radio, so I'm sure they'll.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Court is back in session. We're going to get started with the people versus Dakota Boswell, who decided to show up to court today. Dakota Boswell, please take a seat at the defender's table.
Dakota.
Right here, over here.
Right here.
Or, right. Oh,
Here. Dakota.
We're going to go get started with case number 6 on the docket, DA.
Thank you, Your Honor. This will be incident number 21 with arresting officer Buck Rogers.
I swear.
Let me look at the charges real quick.
Them Buck's been arresting a lot of people.
We got armed robbery of a bank, evading and resisting arrest.
Dakota Boswell, how do you plead to those charges?
I don't know.
Let me
which
enlighten
bank?
him, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Please
Give me a
do.
rundown.
On 9/22/2021, I was assisting officer headed to the bank robbery in progress. The suspect, later identified as Dakota Boswell, left the bank on a green motorcycle. He actually had the motorcycle inside the bank. Ooh, hold on. Oh, sorry, got sidetracked, Your Honor. A short chase ensued, and the original officers lost sight of the motorcycle. They described it as a green motorcycle with the driver wearing a yellow jersey. The motorcycle was then seen by Chief or Staff Needles. A chase ensued again, at which time I was able to join in. I observed the motorcycle fitting the description pass by me, and I activated my overhead lights and sirens, and attempted to stop the motorcycle. He refused to stop, and at one point he crashed and could not get his motorcycle running. He then stole a local van and continued to evade capture. Eventually, we boxed in this van, and the driver had gave up. He identified himself as Dakota Lee Jacob Boswell. I'm joking, it's just
What?
Dakota Boswell, and was very cooperative. He was searched and had 45 diamonds on him. He stated he already placed all the cash he got from the robbery in his account. He was processed and released. This incident did occur within city limits. Your Honor, if I do have a chance to speak, on the behalf of the city, I would like to request that we enforce Section C of 31, Section 14 of the city rules for Mr. Boswell to read and understand that at no point is a vehicle supposed to be inside of a bank. Thank you.
Never.
Oh, that's rough.
If you can please give him that statute one more time so he can open up and read it aloud.
It was all made up, but it's in the city rules.
I mean, I'll read it. I didn't know that. I didn't read the entire. I'm sure none of us read it.
Yes,
The
I
entire.
did. I
So
would
there's
like to,
some
wide
I would like
assumptions
to
there,
state that
Mr.
I
Dakota
did,
Boswell,
French fry
about
did.
Well, I'm sure
the actions of
you
what
city
everybody-
officials did, but I'm just saying.
What the fuck?
I would like to say though, I had the diamonds and everything. I would like proof that that you took those diamonds off of me.
It was in the report.
Okay, in the report, but you have no evidence.
We would have to bring up body cam. You don't want that, Mr. Boswell.
Well, I do believe I talked to the officer, and he cleared me of the diamonds I was carrying at the time, as they were family heirlooms. They were not. They were not reported in the bank. Also, I'd like to say that they have no proof that it was me. As I left, they reported it was a green bike. I do not own a green bike. Never have I owned a green bike.
But full disclosure, they did see you on a green bike, and then your bike was disabled. In which case, you
No,
Oh,
all
man.
they have no proof that I robbed a bank. They said that they saw a green bike with someone on a yellow jersey.
I
They
was there.
later tried to chase me for something else, and then they have no proof that I robbed the bank.
Your Honor.
Unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to decide with the defendant here. No plates were given as that matched the vehicle from the original testimony here given by the report.
Your Honor, the
Um,
DA
Had
calls
they given those?
Mr. Dover to the stand, please.
Understood. Mr. Dover, please approach the bench.
This is discrimination if
Right
we
here?
are not allowed our masks.
The bench to me.
We are,
Oh, okay.
Mr. Dover, did you catch
shit.
the license plate number of the vehicle from the first scene?
No, I did not. There was no plate.
There was no plate. Mr. Dover, outside of a green motorcycle, what identifying traits do you have to tie this case to Mr. Dakota Boswell?
Yellow jersey, yellow hair, and tattoos all over the body.
So circumstantial at best, because it's not illegal to wear a yellow jersey, correct?
Correct.
Your Honor,
have
if
any-
I do,
Did you guys collect any fingerprints at the scene?
I collected bullet casing.
Did those bullet casings come back to anything of substance?
Your Honor, may I read the report to you again?
Absolutely.
And I quote, he identified himself as Dakota Boswell and was very cooperative.
But it
I
also
never
doesn't say
admitted-
in the report that he admitted to those crimes just because he admitted to who he was after the disconnect between the charges that are here in the case and when they eventually found him. There was a lapse in time. They don't have anything that ties him to the case. They happen to have circumstantial items on his person, which he just testified. And again, this is under oath. So if he's lying and you guys can prove it, you can hold him accountable for those lies. But those were family heirlooms, according to his testimony. We don't have anything placing him at the scene of the crime. There's no positive identification. There's no license plates. There's no fingerprints. All you have is something circumstantial at best. A guy with yellow hair and a yellow jersey. I see multiple people wearing yellow here today. Could have been anybody.
Well, in
We
the
do have a
handbook, it does
mention of
say-
Officer Chief of Staff, if she is available. Chief of Staff Needles.
What was that?
Chief of Staff Needles, are you available to get on the stand?
What was that? What happened?
Please approach the bench.
Doing a whole bunch of madness back there.
Damn it, Needles.
Over here. You'll need to
I need
approach
go
the
up there
bench.
by Dover.
Up there?
You'll need to approach
The
the bench
bench.
up to the.
Officer Needles, you are named in this report having seen the motorcycle in question.
Hell, Hitler over there trying to lock people up.
Is that accurate?
The one that we were chasing and it crashed off the highway, correct?
Correct.
Who, me?
Yes.
Were you involved in that chase
Nah,
from its
he didn't
inception at
say
the
Hitler.
robbery?
No.
I wasn't at the robbery. On our way approaching there, we were told that the vehicle was driven out of the bank, and we intercepted the chase from there, like a little while after that.
So you didn't lose eyes on the bike from start to finish, is what you're telling me.
Correct.
Why does
Your
the
Honor, the
report not
DA
reflect that you had eyes? Why does the report
No.
not reflect that there was eyes on the vehicle the entire time? Correct. The report specifically says they lost the report.
Your Honor, this report
this
is
is
done by
accurate,
Officer Rogers, and he's not available to testify. These are officers that assisted in the pursuit. So,
Mr. Dakota Boswell, there's one thing that I want to question you on.
Yes, sir.
The report says that you gave testimony that you already placed all the cash you got from the robbery in your account.
No, I said that I put all my money in my account. Yes, why I had no money on me. I said that I kept it all in my account. I put it all in my account.
Did you even come?
so
Mr.
Your
D,
Honor,
do you have anything that could damn this
obviously
this
mutual
person here?
interest.
Because we don't have anything tying him to the deal without there being a break from when he was apprehended to the case itself.
Your Honor, based on the review of this case and the story of the heirlooms, could open up a extreme can of shitstorm worms that we don't want to encounter going forward when prosecuting cases. When 45 diamonds are recovered off of a person who was seen by Officer Rogers exiting out of a bank where a motorcycle was inside a bank.
Assumed though, correct? Because we don't have anything tying him there.
There was
If
no
a-
diamonds recovered though. I was allowed to keep them as the officer said that I could, because he had no proof that I had done anything wrong other than run from the cop.
So, to confirm, Mr. Boswell, the officer didn't take the 45 diamonds off you?
He did not.
So he let you keep the 45 diamonds that you claim were an heirloom?
Yes.
Your Honor, may this be noted for the additional cases.
Understood. Due to a small amount of insufficient evidence, I'm going to drop the charge of
Your Honor, may I speak
attempted
up
robbery.
real quick?
You may.
I do want to point out that Mr. Boswell specifically reacted to that he didn't know he couldn't have his motorcycle inside of the bank. Can he explain himself?
That was.
We're not going to do gotcha courtroom stuff right here. It is the due diligence is on the prosecution to present enough evidence and enough case reports to hold this man guilty of charges.
Your Honor, it's on the record that he admitted to the motorcycle.
He did not know that it was not okay to do that. He didn't admit to doing it. Is that correct, Mr. Boswell?
That is correct.
Of course he's going to say it's correct.
I am going to charge you with evading because you did admit to running from the cops here. So you will be charged with that, and that will take in consideration for the rest of your cases today, Mr. Boswell.
Yes, sir.
He was running from the cops with the heirlooms, for the record.
Next case will be number 7 on the docket.
All right, so this is incident number 22. Arresting officer is one ProDad. And give me 1 second. This is armed robbery of a bank. It's a felony one. And murder of an LEO, felony one.
Go ahead and read us the
And the
report.
narrative reads: I, ProDad, on 9/22 of 2021, assisted with a pursuit on a suspect that robbed a bank at Legion Square. The suspect was identified as Dakota Boswell. Dakota fled from police until going into the subway systems. Officer McDonald and I gave chase. A shootout ensued, and Officer McDonald was fatally wounded. I opened fire on Mr. Boswell and eliminated the threat. He was brought to Pillbox, healed and charged with murder and armed robbery of a bank. Nothing further.
Mr. Boswell, how do you plead to these charges?
Murder of it. Wait, was this the
Your Honor, may it be noted that he just got confused as which time he killed a cop.
No, I'm confused on when I killed the cop.
Should be a pretty life-changing moment. They say every time you kill somebody, you lose part of your soul.
I have no soul anymore, so.
Your Honor, I'm gonna
your eyes are
document this in my diary.
Look into my eyes and you'll see black.
So this was on September 22nd. You
there in the
fled into the subway system, murdering Officer McDonald in cold blood.
I do not remember that. I do not. I
Oh,
only
you
remember-
wouldn't remember that. That's right, because Officer ProDad neutralized you at the scene. Your memory would be a little
I'm
foggy
trying
there.
to- Okay. I was he? He didn't die. He was just wounded. He said that he was mortally wounded, not dead. Therefore, it's an attempted murder.
Mortally.
Mortally.
But he didn't die. It's not
No,
murder.
mortally
I mean-
wounded would mean he died.
Somebody here.
No, he's mortally dead would mean he was dead. Mortally wounded means he's still alive and breathing.
Dakota.
He never died.
Your Honor, may it be noted that it's pretty clear that he shot, fatally wounded. I had to open fire. Or no, it says ProDad had to open fire.
The definition of a mortal wound is a wound that would ultimately lead to a person's death. So we're going to go ahead and keep this as a murder charge.
But he
Attempted
never
murder,
died.
In the eyes
Oh
of the
my
court, attempted murder would
God.
mean you opening fire on said officers. But if you down an officer and take him out of commission, we are charging you with murder. And for that, we are finding you guilty. The summarization of your charges and fines will be dealt at the conclusion of all of your cases today. Next is case number 14 on the docket.
Well, I had one till like fucking got brought over here by an officer. Motherfucker wouldn't even let me come
All right, Your Honor. Incident number 44 against one Dakota Boswell. Arresting officer is Ricky Burns. On September 26th at approximately 2 a.m., Mr. Dakota Boswell involved in a bank robbery with an unknown female. We left the bank and ended up chasing the vehicle. Mr. Boswell was behind the wheel as he tried to go off a ramp onto the highway. Boswell flew out of his windshield and went unconscious. We then continued to search and found 45 diamonds. After we searched him, we took him to Pillbox to get help. When he got all better, we took him to PD to give him his charges.
Go ahead and read out those charges.
Armed robbery of a bank, felony 1. Driving without a license, evading and resisting arrest. Obstruction of justice, reckless driving.
Took your radio, Bob. I'm sad for you.
That is the charges,
Seems
Your
like
Honor.
a lot whenever I drove for like less than a minute from the bank.
A
Keyword
lot of
drove,
things
Your
can be
Honor.
done behind one of those vehicles, Mr. Boswell.
You said what?
A lot of rule violations can be. Have you seen the traffic book? It's very thick. A lot of rule violations can be done in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
That said, how do you plead to those charges?
For most of them guilty, but I want to know how I obstructed justice.
While they were trying to stop you, you ran.
Okay, so what are we gonna act like? You know, we're gonna call out every tiny little infraction.
Oftentimes, they typically throw a bunch on here and sees what sticks. But because they got you for evasion, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the obstruction charge.
And
I support
as for
that,
my
Your Honor.
license-
That'll waive the
as for my
$13.
license- As for my license, it was in my vehicle at the time. I flew out of my vehicle, and the unknown person that was with me took off in my vehicle.
If
So-
you would like to tell us who that unknown person is, so we can charge them, we can happily drop that charge.
I ain't no snitch.
Well, you will be charged with driving without a license then.
But there's no proof that I was driving without a license.
Did you have one on your person?
Not on my person, but in my vehicle. That means
Ultimately,
when I was
it
driving,
is
when
on
I
you
was
to prove that
driving,
you-
when I was driving, I had it on. I had it in my possession. Okay. There's no proof because the vehicle was then.
Again, if you would like to
left the scene,
if you would like to get with the unnamed female to provide you with a vehicle and a license, we'll happily drop that charge.
this is bribing. This is illegal.
This is not bribing. This is plea
This
negotiation.
is actually. No, it's not a plea deal. It's blackmail. If you do this, then we'll do this. If you don't do this, then we'll do this. That's
No,
blackmail.
we are happy.
Which is very illegal.
If you are willing to be cooperative, we are happy to drop charges.
That's not cooperative because I don't have to do that. I don't have to.
You don't
do
have to
anything.
do
I can,
this, but you
I
didn't
can
have
waive
your
my
license
Fifth
on your
Amendment
person
right, but I'm not waiving
when
my
you were
Fifth
caught with a
Amendment right
vehicle.
by
Sir, I'm
talking.
going to hold you in contempt if you continue to talk over me.
Okay, well, if I'm talking first, then you just start
Welcome, Chief.
talking. It's not talking over you.
Sir,
First
this
off,
is my courtroom.
okay. Well, if I'm driving with my license in the vehicle, it's in my possession. When I exit the vehicle, it is no longer my possession, but I am no longer driving. So there's no proof that I was driving without a license if my license is in the vehicle and the vehicle is, had left the scene. So therefore, that is false. You cannot charge me for something they have no proof of.
Your Honor, may I speak?
Absolutely.
During the review of this case as well, I just want to go ahead and remind the entire courtroom here, based on the research and the data provided here, the grand total of the fines are nowhere near the amount of hair dye in Mr. Boswell's hair. So just do want to be reminded of the dollars involved here.
It's
No,
not about the money.
I
It's about
understand
the,
that.
it's about the charges.
It's about the charges. But the reality is, you wouldn't have been given that charge had you been able to provide a license, and you were unable to do so.
Because it was in the vehicle.
But again, it is
Had I been,
on you to
if
keep that
they
on your
didn't give me a
person.
chance, if they didn't give me a chance to go to my vehicle and pull it out, then how am I supposed to prove it? I was out of the vehicle when I was apprehended. Therefore, I was no longer driving. So
But
there's
you
no
still
way you
were
can
driving,
charge
and
me
you were
for
unable
something.
you were unable to provide a license, correct?
Yes, because I put it in my vehicle.
You were driving. You were unable to provide a license. Unfortunately, it was on you to be able to provide the license, and since you are unable to do so, we are going to stick this charge. That said,
Man, that's some
as far as
bullshit.
fines, sir, please do not use that language in my court. I will hold
Well,
you in contempt.
you're straight up fucking doing some bullshit.
Sir,
And you know it.
I warned you once about the language, sir.
Slam him.
Oh shit.
Put him in the slammer.
That's
Ooh,
at least give him a
We're
chance.
cops,
Bro.
and we do what we want.
Your grand total fine between all three cases is looking
Sorry, I
at
can't really hear you.
$28,500. As far as time, the majority of your time is going to be spent for the murder of Officer McCummins and the armed robbery charge associated with that case.
So the fact that I did
Needles, can you come book?
the fact that I did some community service has nothing, it doesn't affect nothing.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Because that makes sense.
We love you, Dakota.
You're looking at 130 months.
We love you.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Please process him. I hope you come out a rehabilitated man from Bolingbrook State.
Not rehabilitated, just much worse.
Just much worse.
Mr. James Richards, please have a
Dakota.
seat to the stand.
I can't wait to
Yo.
Holy fuck, I didn't know we did T-Pain up in here.
We're going to get started with case number 3, Mr. DA.
He's running.
Your Honor, if you don't mind, can we request?
He's running.
Can we request the
That's our Of course he's running.
Look at the window.
Can we request the mask?
There he is. There he is. Man,
So we-
Dakota's running. Run, Dakota.
God damn.
Across from the.
Wow.
across
Alright.
from the,
Time already?
DA will be requesting an
Officer
additional
Needles,
100.
when you do catch this individual, go ahead and throw another 100 months on his deal for obstruction. Mr. James Richards, while in the court, I ask that you please remove your face mask.
Come on, man. Part of my religion.
How can you prove that you're an active member of that religion?
I'm a priest.
You're a priest? So you have
No,
your
I'm a priest.
you have your religious license?
It's at the house.
It's at the house. Well, if you are unable to provide one, I'm going to ask that you please remove the face shield. Thank you, sir.
What's the case number, Your Honor?
It's going to be incident number 12, number 3 in the docket. The People versus James Richards, arresting officer Sharon Needles.
All right, this is incident number 12. Arresting officer Sharon Needles. We've got a felony 2, attempted murder of an LEO. And murder of an LEO, felony 1.
Mr. Richards, how do you plead to those charges?
Is that it, bro? No fucking story behind it? No details?
Well, we can read the story if you want some narrative behind it.
I don't recall that murder.
Mr. DA, please enlighten this gentleman.
Well, Mrs. Needles says, while responding to a chase that branched off from a trade-off for the life of an officer for an SMG and a shotgun, James Richard escaped from a shootout that erupted from the trade-off and came back in a vehicle shooting at officers. He shot and killed Dover and shot Garrett as he drove up and down the freeway trying to avoid fire. He fired at myself and Brown. I pulled out my AR, firing on the vehicle, hitting the suspect. He eventually bled out in his vehicle. Brown and myself moved in on the vehicle to collect Mr. Richards' body. He was sentenced to 60 months community service.
Does that refresh your memory there, Mr. Richards?
Maybe.
How do you plead to those charges?
Guilty.
Guilty, understood. Mr. Richards, you are a serial police murderer. I feel like I see you here every other week. Killing cops. You've proven that...
Not my fault.
I mean, ultimately one could determine that the actions of the person pulling the trigger, it is inherently their fault, but we're not going to go down that loophole today.
Your Honor, we had to hire an IT company to manage the records.
You are the first victim of the harsher penalties that are going to be faced for attempted murders and murders on police officers, with a heavy community service fine on the front side, as well as a stiff penalty in prison. That said, we will give you a summarization of your charges at the conclusion of your time here today, as we still have one more case.
Come on, bro. At least I showed up.
One could argue that at least you showed up to have your day in court and due process where you can at least try to argue your case. But when you leave it this cut and dry, my friend, there's not a whole lot we can do there. If you want to, continue to circumvent justice and have the police continually chase after you and always have to keep an eye over your shoulder, you are entitled to that air quotes right. However, you are doing yourself and the entire community a disservice by not having your day in court. We're moving on to case number 8 on the docket, DA.
Copy.
Go ahead.
All right, Your Honor, this is incident number 25. This is attempted murder of an LEO, evading and resisting arrest, and failure to stop at a red light, and a joyriding misdemeanor.
Come on, man.
And speeding within city limits. Those are the charges, Your Honor.
Copy that.
On 9/24/2021 at 3:45 p.m., Officer Richard Johnson attempted to pull over a speeding vehicle that sped past him using nitrous. When pulling up to the vehicle, the driver, later identified as James Richards, started to take off and led Officer Johnson on a very long chase. At the end of the chase, Mr. Richards' vehicle was disabled and could no longer move due to pitting. After being ordered to step out of the vehicle with his hands up, Mr. Richards started shooting at the officers. Mr. Richards was shot unconscious. Mr. Richards was taken to pillbox immediately and then transported to MRPD for processing. Mr. Richards was informed about his court date and was released on a $3,000 bail. The district attorney's office is looking at $45,000.
God damn.
Mr. Richards, is there any relation between you and the arresting officer? Just make sure there's no conflict of interest here.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
I'm going to take that as a no. If you could please watch your language, I will not warn you again. How do you plead to the charges, Mr. Richards?
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. DA. This is he was unconscious at the scene towards the end there.
Correct. So his memory might be quite fuzzy. It's the same kind of scenario. Sometimes they forget.
Right.
Which
sometimes they forget.
which scenario?
I've been recently diagnosed with a psychological issue by a fellow doctor, Mr. Burdo.
Did you say a fellow doctor? Are you a doctor?
From Craigslist, yeah.
Your Honor, I'd like to go
Craigslist
ahead and
doctor.
have a motion to remove his doctorate license. Because
I would go ahead and
Yo, that motherfucker's like
I would
Craigslist.
argue that is a good move. Mr. Richards, do you have a weapons license?
Yes.
At this point, I'm going to ask that the police department revoke your weapons license until you complete another 20 counts of community service. At which point you can reapply for said weapons license. As far as your charges today, sir, you are looking at a total fine of $97,000 between your two cases.
The fuck?
And 220 months in the state penitentiary. Mr. Richards, you're someone who proves that they are not willing to rehabilitate.
How much
So
money?
the more infractions of this nature and the frequency of them will absolutely take
Let this
part
be a lesson,
in the
everybody.
sentence length that you are going to
Let this be a lesson.
That said, Officer Needles, please charge this man with $97,000.
Get your notepads out. Write that down.
Remove his weapons license and sentence him
Get your notepads out. Write that shit down.
amount in jail.
Write it down.
I can't write.
I don't write shit down.
I can't read or write, so that ain't gonna help me.
I'm writing this shit with fucking tobacco. Holy
That is crazy. 220. Was it 26 months? Oh my god.
It's not that long in dog years.
Actually, I think it's longer in dog years, my friend. I think a dog would die in that amount.
If he did it, he's so screwed.
Mr.
lock
DA,
that man up.
It scares me how excited you're getting over something like that.
Oh, you can see my pants.
$100,000 too.
Yeah. Yeah, get that away from me.
Look at this son of.
Get the fuck out of here, man. I'm gonna punch you in the
Go have a
throat.
seat.
Go away.
Go have a seat. Not yet. Right here.
Okay.
Mr. District Attorney, we're gonna go ahead and take it to case number 1 on the docket.
Oh no! Don't sit beside me. No.
This
Case-
is the people versus ASAP
Case one?
Gomes.
Yeah, which
Your
are fat.
ASAP Gomes in attendance today.
Fucking on, Buster. Yeah, don't fucking
Get all the way,
sit
Burger
on
King.
We have an ASAP Gomes.
Please make note of that, Mr. District Attorney.
I've got it noted. ASAP Gomes did not appear. He'll have a bench warrant for his arrest.
Next, we have the people versus Jay Killa. Is Mr. Jay Killa in attendance
That's
today?
Mr. Birdman. Oh, Mr. Birdman ain't here.
Sorry,
Please make
guys,
note
I
of
can't
Mr.
see
Jay
chat.
Killa's absence.
Were you attacked, Needles?
Next, we have the people versus Christian Ace Hitta. Mr.
Oh,
Christian
shit,
Ace
you were
Killer here
shot.
today. Mr. Christian, it's a pleasure to see you today. Thank you for your attendance.
Yep.
This is case number 13 with arresting officer Commissioner ProDad. Mr. District Attorney, can you please read through the charges?
Your Honor, can you confirm the number that's coming up back to a different person?
It's case number 4 on the docket.
All right.
Fuck is T-Pain? I need that motherfucker's autograph. Like, for fuck's sake.
So this is a doozy. 1 second. Mr. Ace Killer is being charged with assault on an LEO, kidnapping of an LEO,
That's fuck good.
Can't do it.
murder, or charged with assault times 4.
Damn it.
Is what he's being charged with. On 9/19/2021, at approximately 11 p.m., I was made aware of a hostage situation with Officer Dover. Dover was being held hostage by an unknown individual demanding firearms in exchange for his life. Negotiations with Richards and Castano led to an agreement that we would provide the SMG back to Richards and 1 pump shotgun. Castano set up the meet at mile marker 118, where we delivered the weapons into a trunk of a vehicle, and they released Dover. As soon as LSPD got word that Dover was safe, we pursued the vehicles by Air 1 at the scene of the gun transaction. The vehicle fled down Los Santos Freeway, leading to a big crash where the vehicle rolled over and the suspects were unable to get into a vehicle, so a shootout transpired, leading to all suspects being shot down. The suspects were brought to Pillbox and healed, and Christian was able to spam cuff, and begin to punch me. I had no choice but to use lethal due to my taser having a faulty trigger.
Dude,
I shot Christian down again after the brutal assault on my face, and he was put back into custody. Christian was sentenced to 50 months comm serve and will need to show up to court for murder. Christian, while in the cell, was not properly searched prior to being uncuffed. He pulled a pistol out of his prison wallet, his asshole, and began to shoot the officers while he was in the cell. Christian killed 3 officers prior to being shot down by myself. He's being charged with murder times 4 and assault.
Everything was gangster but the butthole gun.
Mr. Ace Hitta,
Yes, Your Honor.
how do you plead to these charges?
Guilty.
Oh, he admitted to
Guilty.
the
You're
butthole
being
gun.
charged with $100,000 in fines for the multiple murders of law enforcement.
Yes, sir. I understand.
It does look like you did complete some community service.
I did.
We will take that in leeway of.
Can I say something, Judge, before you go ahead?
Floor is yours.
I just want you to take into notice that I was a little pissed off at the police because prior to that I was sentenced to 30 months and ended up doing 325 months upstate. So I want you guys to take that into consideration.
This does remind me of some issues that we were having at Book. I heard the locksmith had some issues. Does that sound familiar to you?
Your Honor, there was a bit of a maintenance problem, and I would support a little bit of a lesser sentence, but I do want to talk about the therapy sessions that the entire Department of Justice, the criminal system, took. The bloodshed down in the jails, just there was a lot that we had to go through. A lot of time sitting on a couch just like this, Your Honor, talking to some guy and talking about feelings and shit. So I just want that to be on the record.
I hope they did that on their own personal dime and did not do that on the states, because we all know that therapy is a load of malarkey.
As a department, we're required to give them something, Your Honor.
we need to talk to the mayor about that. That shouldn't be covered by our HMO. Anyway, moving on, I will take that in consideration, Mr. Christian. You are going to be charged with. We're going to go ahead and lessen your fine to $65,000, and you'll only be doing the time for one of the murders at 100 months. I will not charge you.
Can I also say this seems to me that the DA has it out for me, and I would like to take into consideration to have a different DA from Casey because me and him clearly don't see eye to eye.
Your Honor, I would like to challenge the defendant to see if he even knows my name.
Your Honor, I would like to apologize for disturbing again, rather than.
It's
Your Honor, Your Honor,
Please
help.
detain this man. Please detain this man.
Beat his ass. Run, Chris, run. Run, Chris, run.
Nice
Your
try,
Honor.
Chris.
Mr. Dover, if you could please escort him back here. Before that,
Your Honor,
show
I'm
we
gonna
can put
I'm
on,
gonna go to
he's gonna
motion.
ahead and- he's going to go ahead and face a $100,000 fine.
You gonna
in
go to
addition
sleep? You don't hurry up.
150 months in state penitentiary. Good luck, sir.
You better run, lawyer, run.
Hey, you guys have a fucking sandwich around here?
Yeah, I got you.
Next, we
Not
have
for you.
case number
Give me a
5 on the
goddamn
docket.
sandwich.
the
I'm
people
starving.
versus Alan Roberts. Mr. Roberts here today.
Thanks, boys.
Hey, I'm gonna go to prison. Make sure no one else escapes.
Yo, can somebody unlock this piece of shit door?
I got you.
I'm trying to go to sleep.
Mr. Roberts, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm here, so I'm doing great, I guess.
Another day you're breathing's a great day to be alive. Ain't that right?
Hallelujah.
It's up to consideration.
Hallelujah.
Well, you did wake up in the great state of Los Santos. It could be way worse.
Have you seen court today? I think we're getting pretty worse.
I have. I am present
What's up,
here.
guys?
So this is case number 5 on the docket, incident number 19, the people versus Alan Roberts. Our arresting officer was Officer Justin Maiden.
All right,
Today,
this is
Mr.
the
Roberts, you're being
incident.
charged with possession of an illegal substance. It's a felony 3.
Okay, so this
how
is
do you plead to
incident
this
number
charge?
19.
Do you need recollection of this, or?
No, I do not. I've actually been waiting for this day, sir.
Alrighty. How do you plead to that charge?
Not guilty.
Not guilty. All right. Mr. District Attorney, go ahead and give us the case details.
Okay, so Mr. Roberts is being charged with possession of an illegal substance, which is a felony 3, faces 10 to 20 months. And this is going to be incident number 19, arresting officer Justin Maiden. And the narrative reads: We arrived at Fleeca Bank, located at 529 Hawick Avenue at around 2300 hours. Subject was being held hostage during the bank robbery. After the robbery suspects left the bank, I searched the subject and found 17 bags of unpacked cocaine on his person. The subject claimed that the drugs may or may not have been... I'm old, sorry, Your Honor. I'm trying to read this.
Planted on him.
Been planted on him by robbery suspects. Subject was transported to LSPD for further questions and still insisted that drugs may or may not have been placed on him. Subject was issued $3,000 court fee and was informed that he has to show to court on Tuesday, September 21st. And if he does not
Which
show
was
a bench
obviously
warrant,
delayed. Yeah,
correct. That's a delayed
Okay.
case.
Mr. Roberts, with a refresher there, you're contesting not guilty. Do you want to go ahead and elaborate on those on that plea?
Sure. Whenever I was being taken by the arresting officer, I wasn't informed that I was being detained, nor was I ever Mirandized or anything like that. I was just on my way to PD, and I asked them why I was being taken. They informed me that they were going to be charging me and processing me. I asked them why The reason was they told me it's because they found drugs on me. I had no recollection of having any drugs besides my gun. That was the only thing on me that would have present any type of threat or any illegal activity.
You know, this is a sticky situation here, Mr. Roberts, because as the Mirandization is definitely a problem that we need to address with the police. However, it's only incredibly impactful when new information is found after after being apprehended, whether that's information given or admitting guilt. But because you're only being charged with possession of an illegal substance and they did find it on your person, the issue here is you're claiming that the items may have been planted. Well, that is a possibility. Possession is 9/10 of the law. And
Your Honor,
because
do
they
you
did
mind if
find
I
those-
speak up as well on behalf of the city district attorney's office?
Go for it.
You know, I understand 100% where Mr. Roberts is coming from and understanding the legal system and the way we have to conduct the business. When it comes to law enforcement officers out there, they do have an obligation to ensure and check every hostage in a situation. And in this case, I do believe Mr. Roberts was held hostage. Unfortunately, as a department, we don't have a way to know who did or who did not put something on this person. But we do search a hostage in the event that they are involved in some sort of a robbery to ensure that they're not partnering together.
Understood. I do have a question though. If you could please inform me, what in the instance like this, do you automatically find that hostage guilty of anything that is on their person, whether or not the reason you're searching is for if things could or couldn't have been planted? Is that correct?
Your Honor, it depends on situations. It's all situational based, and unfortunately, sometimes it's as we've all said, it's a very sticky situation. And in the event that a person says that it was planted on them, you know, I don't necessarily know ways that we can prove otherwise. I would support lessening the charges, and as long as the great people of Los Santos understand that police departments do have a requirement to make sure they're safe while talking to a hostage and make sure that they didn't put a bunch of gold bars on them and use them as a continued hostage down the road. There's
Right.
a
No,
lot of
understood.
circumstances that can be used.
I'd make a motion to the mayor to consider, a new policy that in the event that any illegal substance is found on a hostage, because it's something that could have been planted and that is the reason for the search, that those items be removed. But because we cannot determine origin, and the whole purpose of the search is for planted items, it's hard to hold that person accountable, in my eyes, as a judicial figure.
Or we talk to the mayor about not planting anything on your hostage.
We could talk about that, but that's an impossible thing to keep track of. Either way, Mr. Roberts, I think what we're going to do today, given the nature of the case and these details, you're looking at a $6,800 fine. I'm willing to drop that down to, well, you've already paid $3,000. A $2,000 fine. A $2,000 fine, which will make a grand total today of your charges being $5,000 with the $3,000 that you've already paid, and give you 20 counts of community service, which you should be able to complete post-haste, and don't have to get you dirty up there in the cells. I would hate to get that suit all grimy with the muck in prison.
It did cost more than hair dye.
Your Honor,
cost more than hair dye.
May I speak up and just, I'll if you don't mind, I can approach the suspect and ask a question. Mr. Roberts, regarding the fines and things like that, what were the items going for normally on the street to be able to determine what's a fair cost?
Really asking the guy who had it planted on him?
Just trying.
I mean, that sounds almost like trying to entrap me into
leading.
this,
That's
and
leading.
I could not inform you on anything. I can inform you how much it costs to repair your car.
Oh, okay. Just asking.
You know that's a good answer. I appreciate you sticking with the it was planted on you. We are going to go ahead and stick with a $2,000 fine and 20 counts of community service. Unfortunately, possession is 9/10 of the law. We will use this case as precedent for potentially looking at changes we can make down the road. Mr. Needles, go ahead and get this man fined. Mr. Roberts, would you like to complete that community service now or at a later date?
Let me complete it at a later date. I gotta take care of some stuff.
Understood. So we're just finding him the 2,000.
Right.
Next, we have the People versus Wadu Heck, incident number 32.
Free my boy.
Case number 10 on the docket.
Nah, Wadu. Damn, EMS going bad.
Case number 10.
Case number 10 on the docket.
Leave him alone. He's just a boy.
Mr. Wadu Heck.
Hello.
All right, Your Honor. This is a. Hold on one second. This is a case
so
from.
You see the problem here. You see the problem
Yeah.
I'm seeing here, correct? Okay. Mr. Wadu Heck, we're going to go ahead and drop these charges today. There was no due diligence done on the part of the law enforcement. You were being charged with accessory to a crime, but no details were given or specifics in which case to refer to. As a result, enjoy your freedom, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew I had him.
One for
I
one
knew
in
it.
court.
Some bullshit.
Next, we have the People versus Clint Daly. Is Mr. Daly present today?
I did not see him.
Get rid of that ugly ass mustache.
Mr.
He's
District
not
Attorney,
present.
Please note Mr. Daly's absence today.
Okay.
Next, we have case number 13 on the docket, the People versus Otto Marks.
What's the number?
Number 13 on the docket.
Oh, there you go.
You got this, buddy.
Big Mac.
One more fat joke, so help me God. Who said that? Who
All
said
right,
it?
Your Honor.
Mr. Otto
Your
Marks,
Honor,
are you
Your
on?
Honor, I'm
the-
gonna respectfully ask these people stop making fat jokes.
Mr. Marks, I do have a question for you. Yeah.
Yes.
You and I have met before. What happened?
Want me to say it on record, or?
Yeah, I would like to know. Is it a thyroid condition or what's going on? Because you were a strapping young man as of what feels like, I can blink and think about it.
Unfortunately, well, there's a certain beautiful lady in the city, and she's giving her attention to my cousin instead of me, and I couldn't handle that. And, I've been eating away my sorrow.
So depression eating.
Fucking Chuck Norris.
I'm not proud of it.
So a little bit too much time at Burger Shop.
They're amazing.
If they're ever. Anyway, I digress. This is case number 42 on the docket, the People versus Otto Marks.
Oh boy.
Arresting officer is Officer Brown. Mr. District Attorney, what is he being charged with today?
Did you use cuffs fit around those?
All right, he is being charged with corruption and bribing of an LEO, evading and resisting arrest,
I moved to supersede.
illegal possession of LEO equipment,
What? What?
and reckless driving.
Okay.
Mr. Marks, how do you plead to those charges?
Not guilty to some of them. Namely, the reckless driving. I can't drive non-recklessly
If you could
if my
please make
tires-
sure you're on the communication channel.
Oh, sorry. I would like to plead not guilty to the reckless driving. My tires were spiked. That's not my fault.
Your Honor, I would support that because his belly's so big, there's no way he could reach the steering wheel.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
Attorney, please refrain those comments to yourself. I will hold you in contempt for
Sorry.
harassment.
A little too good, Bob.
As Mr. Marks continues to cover his face. Go ahead and read the case details.
I eat under pressure, okay? And there's clearly quite a lot coming here.
And he's
All
always
right.
under pressure.
My man takes an all-you-can-eat buffet as a challenge.
Swear to
All right, the narrative for case number 42, Otto Marks. Officer is Matt Brown. I, Sheriff Brown, responded to a bank robbery on Route 68, the date of 9/25/2021. Upon arrival, there was nobody in the bank, and I began a search around the area. Found a green SUV parked behind the repair shop across the street, and upon making contact with Mr. Marks, he began to flee from deputies down Route 68 to Great Ocean Highway. Other officers placed spikes on the highway, and the subject ran over the spikes, taking out his two driver's side tires. He continued to the boat ramps near the arena and attempted to swim away, but was tackled and placed into cuffs. A police badge was recovered off of Mr. Marks, and he tried bribing
souvenir.
myself and C3 Teddy, saying he can put money in our bank accounts.
I was simply offering to fundraise the Sandy Shore Police Department. I was trying to do my part. Timing was bad, I admit.
Based on the case, Your Honor, the fines don't total much more than he would spend at McDonald's in 1 week.
That's a lot of money.
I highly doubt that.
Understood. Well,
I'd let the
that
premium
said,
membership.
he obviously has no issue spending that amount of money at McDonald's. So you are looking at an $850 fine
Jesus Christ.
and 35 months.
Okay, all right. Can we go over the exact charges one more time?
Well, we dropped the reckless drive,
Yeah.
but we have you on bribery.
Okay,
evasion.
I do have to say, was money exchanged?
Attempted bribery.
Was that what was given in the report?
You are quoted for saying you would give the officers money. Were you not? And you just admitted in the courtroom of air quotes fundraising.
Yes, I would love to fundraise. I'd fundraise for a lot of things. I mean, you've seen the
What else have you
Salvation Army
fundraised
down
for?
to
What else did you fundraise for?
the Burger Shot fucking child fundraiser. You never seen that? I haven't seen the tricycles.
So you have the tax forms that you would get from a donation such as that?
Listen. I like to be an anonymous donor. I don't want my name. I don't want the gratitude of it. And honestly, I'm only bringing it up because legally, I feel like now I have to.
Legally,
It was an anonymous donation.
Legally now you feel like you have to.
Yeah, I mean, I like to be a good dude. I don't like to, brag about me giving money away. What am I, a YouTuber? I'm not gonna record that shit.
I can appreciate you trying to be a humble donor. However, given the timing of evasion and offering, this is incredibly suspect. And I, as the judge, jury, and executioner, am going to find you guilty of attempted bribery.
Ah, shot. There's a shot. But
try to execute that gut.
It was worth a shot. I'll give you that.
All right. I just do want to say, county sucks. All right, I
The
could have
county or the
lost him.
sheriff. So who are you? Whose name are you slandering right now? Just so full disclosure.
On the record, I would like to say, who's the arresting officer, Mr. Brown?
Sheriff Brown. It was the sheriff.
Yeah. Well, I would like to say that he crashed a few times, and not to brag, but I slowed down for him.
Understood. I question for you. How did you obtain the police badge?
I almost forgot about that.
I didn't forget.
It was a souvenir. You can
A
get 'em
souvenir?
From, yeah.
Did it come in a Happy Meal?
Yes, actually, yes, it did. I'll take it. I'll set that.
Okay. All right. Well, so you are gonna be you're gonna face an $850 fine and 30 months in jail.
Oh God. All right.
You know, if anything hit the weight room while you're there, you might come out better for it.
I just hope there's enough. There's enough for my caloric intake because I don't want no health issues happening when I'm down there.
You are a walking health issue.
Wait, which one was it? Which one was it? Which one was it? Come on, stand up, coward. Stand up, coward.
You're gonna be in contempt, buddy.
You want yourself.
Everybody needs to relax before I hold you in contempt.
Thank you, sir. I don't want to have to waste
Watch
3
yourself.
taser shots to bring you down.
Watch yourself. Bite your nose.
Next, we have incident number 48, the people versus Mona Bono. Case number 15 on the docket list.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Mr. Bona, how you doing today?
Chilling. How are you?
Oh, I'm living the dream up here.
See that?
Today, you're being charged with armed robbery of a bank, evading and/or resisting.
Oh.
How do you plead to these charges?
Not guilty.
Not guilty? All right, Mr. District Attorney, go ahead and take us through the details of the case.
Thank you, sir. This is incident 48 with Mona Bona, Sheriff Matt Brown. His narrative reads that I, Sheriff Brown, responded to a bank robbery on Hawick Avenue on 9/26, 2021. Upon arrival, there were 3 subjects with weapons inside with 1 hostage. We met their demands and proceeded with the pursuit. The subject crashed and disabled their vehicle behind Best Buds and proceeded to run on foot. I chased Mr. Bona on foot down the block and tackled him and placed him in cuffs. Upon searching said person, I recovered 90 diamonds and 15 gold bars. Nothing
Mr. Bona,
further.
can you please elaborate on your not guilty plea for these charges?
Nobody tackled me. He told me to stop running, so I stopped running. There was no tackling.
So you are placing yourself at the scene of the crime then, is that correct?
And I do make gold bars from necklaces.
Oh, you do? You have a foundry. You in a foundry?
No, but
Okay, because
my buddy does.
in this city, the only possession is for the reserve. They're treasury notes. They're what keep our currency of value. They're only held in banks is more so what I'm getting at. It's like
My buddy owns one.
Your buddy owns what?
Stuff to melt down necklaces.
Would you like to calm down?
Nah.
No.
He's
Okay.
not in city.
Not
He's
in
on
the city.
vacation.
On vacation. Understood. Well, because they were following this vehicle from a robbery, chased you down on foot, and caught you with illegal possession on you. We're going to go ahead and find you guilty of armed robbery and evading and/or resisting. Looking at a $1,000 fine.
Okay.
And 35 months in jail. Should be light work for you, Mr. Bone. I hope you come out a rehabilitated man. I want to say this. I do appreciate, you know, you may have done something wrong, but you didn't do the mortal sin of committing acts of murder. So, you know.
I mean, I could have, but I didn't want to.
You could have, but you chose not to, and that to me holds some weight. So I'm lessening the charge from what you should have been, which is 45 months, to the 35. So, you know, if you are going to do the life of crime, I just wish that you know, people in the city don't commit the mortal sins and lose pieces of their soul when they do.
Indeed. Indeed.
Officer Needles, can you please process this individual?
Free to God.
Facts. I didn't do shit. Maybe a little bit, but not all of it.
And needle's kind of thick.
It's $1,000 and 35 months. Next, we have case number 16 on the docket, the people versus Just in Time.
Oh dear God! Look at that haircut.
Good evening, Your Honor.
Good evening, Mr. Just in Time. How you doing today?
Could be better.
I understand that.
I need a drink.
Mr. District Attorney, you want to go ahead and read through the charges today?
Your Honor, can I get 1 second? I just need a liquid refreshment. I'm a little parched, I'm a little nervous. I saw the swagger walk up here, and I had to get a water. 1 second, sir.
Your Honor, I would just like to state for the record that my name was not on the court docket list.
Your Honor, the DA will verify.
No need to. I'm looking at it right now. You are correct. Were you told at time of arrest about court, though?
I wasn't told anything.
So you just happen to be here.
I was here in support.
Here in support. Well,
Your Honor, the district attorney at this point would go ahead and recommend that the case be thrown out.
if the district attorney isn't bringing this case to the table, then I guess you're free to go, Mr. Just in Time.
We hold ourselves to a very high standard at the Department of Justice.
Thank you for your time.
Next, we have our favorite individual, Mr. Bob Fixum. I can't speak for everyone. My favorite individual. Mr. Bob Fixum, please come on down. I feel like we need somebody with the Price is Right music right now.
Your Honor, I do not have a radio, so can I come up to your big fancy table?
Mr. District Attorney and Mr. Fixum, please approach the bench.
Copy. We'll be right here, Your Honor. What's the number? We'll talk on radio. Wait, hold on.
It's number
Hey,
17
Needles.
on the,
Needles, can you give me your radio?
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Welcome.
What is the channel?
311.
311. Needles, go ahead and check the pockets.
Alright, I will resume the position I was in before.
Thank you, Officer Needles. Thank you, Mr. Fixum. Thank you, Mr. District Attorney. Mr. District Attorney, go ahead and run us through the details, please.
All right, incident number 50 on 9/27/2021. The suspect, Bob Fixum, will be charged with armed robbery of a bank, attempted murder of an LEO, evading and resisting, and that is it, Your Honor.
Mr. Fixum, how do you plead to these charges?
I plead not guilty. Could we get a refresher of the situation that actually took place of that said date?
Absolutely.
September 27th, I myself, 502, accompanied by 806 Lawrence, was reporting to a bank robbery. While we was arriving on scene, the suspects entered the vehicle and began fleeing from the scene. We began chasing the suspects. We had a chase for about 5 minutes, up until the suspects crashed into a divider in a road. And I moved in behind the suspect, stopping him from moving. One suspect, Jimmy Neutron, jumped off the freeway, falling unconscious. Bob Fixum got cornered inside of the FIB building. He was commanded verbally more than once to put his weapon away. He refused and opened fire on myself and 400. We fired back on the suspect at the end of the hallway, and ProDad took the suspect down. Shocker. Upon apprehension, he was found with 90 gold bars, and his weapon was confiscated. Nothing further.
Mr. Fixum. Is that a rejog your memory there?
Yeah, you know, that kind of gets the gears, you know, working up there again a bit.
So going back to those charges, you still taking a not guilty plea?
What were the charges again?
Armed
Evading
robbery
and
of a bank, attempted murder of an LEO, and resisting.
I plead guilty to the attempted murder and robbery of bank, but in terms of evading, you know, I kind of put myself in a very bad situation. I was not familiar with the area, you know. I was a little on edge because I didn't have my morning coffee. You know, I dropped my gun in a fucking mud puddle that day, too. I apologize for swearing, Your Honor.
Is that why your shots were inaccurate and you missed the officers, and Commissioner ProDad, who was notorious for a terrible shot, was able to take you down?
See, what happened, I was trying to put it, you know, back in my pocket because, you know, out here on the streets, you got to keep that, you know, on your lap because you never know when trouble could come your way. And what happened, I think, was, you know, it was still a little damp and I didn't want
Just for the
my
record,
pocket to get moist.
are you really giving me a what had happened was? I just want to go on record. Is that what's happening right now? What had happened was?
Well, yes, Your Honor. I'm trying to explain to you what happened and why my firearm, you
Okay,
know...
so continue after that. What had happened was, and then go on with the rest of your statement.
Well, earlier that day, like I said, I dropped my weapon into a mud puddle, and I didn't want to get my pants all wet. So, yes, my firearm was in my hand, but I did try to put the safety on, but there was just so much mud near it that it just, you know, it wouldn't click in.
Understood that. So back to the evading. So the charge itself is evading and/or resisting. So by not complying with the officer's orders, at that point you are resisting. You know, you've already admitted guilty to the armed robbery and the attempted murder. I'm going to go ahead and find you guilty of the evading/resisting because you were resisting by the nature of the events that took place. As a result, Mr. Fixum, I'm going to go ahead and give you a summarization of your time and fine. Bear with me just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at a $4,000 fine and 80 months up in Bolingbrook, sir.
All right.
Officer knows. Please process this man. Mr. Fixum, before she does so, do you have anything to address the court? Any last words?
No, I actually thought I was going in there a lot longer. I thought I had at least like 6 cases, but hey, I'll take it.
Your Honor, I motion to add 20.
Motion denied. Actually, however,
Copy.
because this was an attempted murder on the law enforcement, I am going to recommend that your weapons license be revoked, and upon completion of 30 parts of community service, you can apply for a new one.
Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. It's too bad.
We're going to go ahead and add another 30 months of onto a sentence, Needles.
Copy.
So that should bring it to, what, 110 if that...
Nah, prison's late work.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy your extra 30
Mr. Fixum, I hope that you understand that your actions do have consequences, and I'm holding you in contempt for the assaults you just held on to just now.
I appreciate it. I love being out there so much and doing electrical work. You know, I'm considering living out there.
Yo, what the fuck?
Ladies and gentlemen of the court, that concludes today's cases. All we ask is that justice be served here in the Department of Justice. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening and stay safe out there.
Thank you for the drinks and the food. Hi, Nat.
Are you okay?
Yo, the door is locked.
Say what?
We're on our way.
I think you need a cough drop. Your voice is messing up.
Stay on the station.
Your voice is messing up. Hey, Needles.
Next time I'm saying fuck the badge and shooting people.
Did you get shot back there?
Yeah, I got shot back there in the shoulder. James Richard.
He pulled out a shotgun back there?
He pulled out. No, I shot him with a fucking shotgun.
Yes.
he pulled out a pistol and shot me in the shoulder, and I saw him reaching. The same time I saw him reaching, I was like, oh hell no.
You blasted him. That's
Blasted his
freaking
ass
awesome.
back. I'll send you the clip.
Oh, that's freaking cool.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
A little bit. It was cutting out pretty bad.
Trash right now.
Yeah, you were definitely cutting in and out. Oh man, that was a long one.
Funny.
That was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Good. That's how we started.
Oh, and I had
An
fun.
hour and a half.
I had fun arguing with Xander on a couple of them. I had fun. I can't believe I forgot to put just in time on there. What the F?
I'm not on the court docket.
I swear I put him on there. I swear I did. I'm gonna look.
Is that why you dropped it? 'Cause you didn't put it on the court docket?
Yep. Those kind of mistakes. That's my
the
fault,
DA's
bro.
fault.
That's the DA's fault, and we lose that case. That's the life, man. Gabe's was so funny. Oh my god, I couldn't. And then frickin' Xander's like, I'll hold you in contempt if you say something like that again. Oh, son of a bitch, it was so fun. Xander almost threw me out of the courtroom.
Yep, at a certain point.
Oh my god, it was too fun. When he came out with the fat guy, I was like, I can't control this. This is so funny.
Oh, that's Dakota's great. I mean, not Dakota, the fucking Fox is great. We gotta get a warrant for Dakota, by the way. His ass got away.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, my pockets were scuffed. I couldn't grab them.
Jimmy Neutron also, did you deal with that yet, Miss Niels?
So Jimmy Neutron said, I couldn't speak to the DA then. Jimmy Neutron said he got in the jail and was attacked by the peds in the jail and saw the light while he was in there. I was like, well, to me, peds aren't gonna attack you unless you attack them.
Wait, so he passed out there and then eat out?
Yes, he saw the light and left, and then came to us. He did sit very nice and tight for me while I waited to get a higher up, aka Needles.
Dude, he got killed by the dog, I bet you.
That is exactly what he said.
By the dog.
Needles told me to book him for another 100 months. I told him that's what I was doing. He bitched and moaned, as Jimmy does. In the end, he said he was never flying back in if I did that. So I got Needles again. We decided to bring it up with you and the DA.
He did the mission, and the dog came out and fucking wrecked him. I guarantee you. That's exactly.
Again.
But I don't want that to be their out. That's bullshit too.
So what we've got to do something though, because if that's too aggressive, that is going to be an issue. Like,
there should be an EMS there.
Well,
prison doctor,
there is a doctor there for like heals.
Well, the reality is, if he chooses last location, he still should be in jail.
No,
so
he flies out. He eat out. He was dead. He was bleeding out. He held E and woke up in the hospital because the dog got him, and there was nobody there to revive him.
Yeah, and there is a doctor there, and that's one thing I was talking to Flip about was.
But the doctor you have to be brought to, right? It's not like a.
Yeah, but that's where we need to be out there, and keep them alive. But we haven't been able to make it work yet because Flip has to make it where I can drag a body to there and they can flex their eye to get healed by that doctor, and then that way they're always there. But it requires us, so for now we'll let it fly, but as a department we have to be out there to make sure that we don't let them die out and wait to respawn. So
another thing, DA,
Mhm.
Mr. Jimmy came back again after that, after like 10 minutes, say,
Mhm.
and bitched to me asking if he was going to get his stuff or if he should sue the court and the department.
of course he's not getting his stuff. The dumbass took
I
on a
agree.
dog. Of course he's losing it all.
And then saw the light like a fucking dildo. What do you expect?
Yeah.
And when you see the light, you don't take anything with you. So
Yeah,
I mean,
you
that's-
saw. You
that's
chose
an
to see the
active-
light.
That's an active thing he did. He could have sat there and waited for help.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't get any indications of anyone being injured there though.
I got lots of fights in progress. I did not get an injured person though either.
yeah. And the fact that, let's be real here. If he came to court with stuff on him that he didn't want to lose,
Sure.
what kind of common sense does that make? So I'm not worried about it. I'm not gonna give him his stuff back. It's, you chose to go over and take on the mission. You died. You saw the light. For all I care, you could have laid there for your entire sentence, really. I don't know. I don't want. It's just. It's funny how.
Sticky situation.
It's just funny how it's always. What I would do in his situation is choose last location and go right back into prison. And RP to prison. That's what he should have
But
done.
there is no last location. Though.
He
That's
never
the
had
problem.
that option, sir.
No, once he respawns.
But he didn't
Oh,
When you
because.
see the light, you.
I got
when
you.
you
He hits
die,
E.
you wake
That's
up in
right.
pillbox.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
That's what he chose to do instead of
laying
lay
there.
there and wait for
Yeah.
help.
And, at the time, Mendover, by the time Jimmy came back here, Mendover was already en route to the prison. Not sure if he was there yet, but he was en route at least. I know that.
Yeah, we have to find a way to get a paramedic out
he
there or
didn't-
something.
He didn't try to like OOC it or anything, you know, like to
Yeah.
let anybody. Like, he did that as his own volition. So at that point,
Yep.
like
I don't
am in
care.
concurrence with you guys that he knowingly risked his shit.
All he had to do was say, "I'm OOC dead at prison," and someone would have come and helped him.
Yep.
Did he?
I think I should only recorded right before Richard took out his pistol and shot me in the shoulder.
Do what?
You missed the head.
If I can only recorded a tiny few seconds of him shooting me in the shoulder.
Oh, damn.
See, I wasn't sure what was going on. I heard a gunshot. I instantly wrapped all the way around, saw a pylon, went all the way around again, and then I got to that back door and saw you standing over his body.
So we
Take him
didn't.
down. Did you take him down with a fucking shotgun? That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so upset I didn't record it. It only got him just taking his gun out. He shot me in
That
the
is
shoulder
fucking
and
awesome. I just heard the thump, and I just peeked in there real quick to make sure it wasn't him taking you out. And then I just saw you standing over his body, just like, damn, you just got knocked the fuck out.
It was very fast.
Oh man. All right. Well, I'm not gonna lie. That was fun. That was fun. I was arguing with you, and that was so fun. I'm like, no, like Your Honor, no, Your Honor. Oh man, that was good shit. So that one was. I'll have to look back at that case, the motorcycle one, because he admitted. Didn't he admit right at the beginning?
He said
that. I
didn't know
couldn't
you weren't
be
allowed
in there.
to do that. He said I didn't know you couldn't put bikes in the rules. Like you asked him to read a thing. He's like I didn't read the whole rules. Like that. He never blatantly said I put the motorcycle in the bank.
And it was so funny because you're like, what was the thing again? And I'm like, I don't know. I just made up shit. Section C 1347 of the. But
yeah,
I had a fun time doing that. I'm not gonna lie. That's just
I
fun.
have a feeling motherfucker's gonna be coming after me now.
Who?
You just cooked the shit out of a couple people.
I cooked the shit out of a couple people.
Like 220 months for this guy? Oh my god.
That was fucking hilarious.
That was
Coda
great.
was real salty.
That was great.
I mean,
come
Dakota
on.
ultimately didn't have that much. It
I
wasn't
should've
until he
shot him
fucking
from-
tried to do some stupid shot that like fucking.
Yeah.
Shooting me in
Well,
the, shot my goddamn shoulder.
and I really don't want those scenarios to always happen. Like, and the whole thing about the diamonds is very, very sketch. I have to find out why on God's green earth.
The problem is
why
the
would we
reports
let
said
him
that they
keep
lost
those?
him. The reports that because the reports they lost him. Even Buck and Buck's a good cop. Buck knew that he didn't have chain of custody from him at the jewelry store to then, right?
That
And
means whoever
diamonds
sells
as a thing itself isn't illegal, right? It's a fucking diamond. People have them on the rings all the time, right? So because he lost them in the chase, at that point, all
someone's
he
injured at
technically has them
Bolingbroke.
for is evading. What's that?
Someone's injured at the prison.
We got people up there or no?
Yeah, we don't have any. There's only us three. Only us two.
This is it for cops? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
God damn, man.
What happened to Dover?
I think Mr.
Yeah,
B.
they
Dix
go to
realized how horrible being by that door was and flew out. Was not a good time.
I told you guys to just sentence them.
And his case got thrown out.
They're gonna be acting up. Sentence them.
What exactly does holding someone in contempt? What does that mean? What do I do to them, other than drag them out of the courtroom?
Cuff them and bring them to us, and I guess
And we'll send them.
Issue them the time.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that interrupt court cases?
Well, contempt, it depends on the situation. Contempt pretty much means they're getting booked everything plus extra. Xander will basically determine at that point what he's going to do.
Right. It's not a charge. You're just like whatever time I say and whatever fine.
Yeah. You know, like in court when they're like, bailiff, take him away. They're pulling him out of the
gavel.
courtroom.
I will hold you in contempt, sir.
Yeah.
If you interrupt me one more time.
Okay. And I have one more question while we're here. The hats and masks rule. I understand the masks. Hats have to be off too, correct? Headbands, all that, bandanas.
I mean, I think we should RP it like a courtroom. Yeah, I mean, it is a courtroom, and people don't show up with their stupid ass hats on and masks. It just, if you can't RP to the level, if you can't RP to the level of, you know, what is expected in a courtroom, then don't show up. You know, that's just my opinion. I mean, if we really want this to be a serious RP server, I mean, we really want to encourage our people to, when you come to court, there's rules. If you don't want to follow the rules, there's the door. Just like Richards, when he's like, I'm not taking this mask off, it's my religion. I said, okay, well, you can sit outside that window and look inside. Like, because I'm not, okay. Because then everybody's going to say it's my religion. It's just, we don't want to open cans of worms, because once they all know one way to get away with wearing a mask the whole time, then they'll do that bullshit. And it's just not going to happen.
I did ask him his religion, and he made up some shit like Cambodian. I told him to fuck off was my words, and my choice of words.
Yeah.
If he said Muslim or something along those lines, I would have allowed it because it made sense.
Yeah, but just
I've never
remember,
heard of Cambodia personally.
just remember what you're opening there. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The minute we let it go, just like the thing about the diamonds, I cannot have every single person that has diamonds on them say they're an heirloom and get away with it. So everyone now hears this, and that they're going to say the exact same thing.
The problem is diamonds in itself isn't a illegal substance, right? It'd be different if it was a treasury bar or drugs or something like that. But diamonds in itself it's something that you can get. You can buy whatever, right? It's in itself an illegal substance.
Well, think about it this way: in the event that you're seen leaving the scene with all of your tattoos that he doesn't cover up, and they come to your house and find diamonds that are the exact same diamonds that came from there, you're getting that. It's all gone, and you're being charged with it, right? I mean, it's really not a whole lot different when it comes to the whole heirloom story.
Same diamonds. If they can prove that they were the same diamonds, but however, the problem is the
Right.
proof in this situation, because there was a lapse between he got away and then they found him. If they were drugs or something like that, they would have removed it from this person, right? But because it in itself isn't an illegal substance, and they did lose him on the chase, that's where the problem is. So what point did they air quotes get away, right?
It depends on the time frame. Because think about it.
They didn't do anything of like, I've got his car. They didn't note anything about the license plate matching the individual. They didn't match him later to be that person. Like, had they done anything else, we could have tied him, but they didn't do the due diligence. You know what I mean?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of the things don't have license plates on them. So,
but like, even if
you may
scan
not
the
see
rate,
it,
they still come up though. No.
Yeah, they do. But essentially, in his case, so if you lose a person and regain sight of them, and they still have the property on them, I mean, that opens it up to where once we lose them, we might as well just stop, because they'll start to take advantage of that. If we lose them and we regain, visual.
Not necessarily, because again, if you have the plates and then you catch them again, there's chain there. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's if you can't do anything to match them at the scene of the crime, right? Whether it's fingerprints, license plates, etc. But if
So if it's a local motorcycle, then you're really screwed.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless
technically.
they can again, but not if they have the plates and then they get them again with that same car. Then again, it's fine. It's if they swap cars again at that point. But again, if they're swapping cars and they're
Right.
doing their part, so it's like there's got to be some leeway. You can't if they get away for a period of time, and you guys can't put them at the scene because again, the onus is on the prosecution to put them there, and that if you are unable to do that with hard evidence, at what point can we convict them of that? You know what I mean?
Well, and you also got to think about the fact that it wasn't a long time, or else he would have went and got rid of the stuff. So obviously, when it comes down to getting rid of the jewels, if he did truly get away, then he should have went and got rid of them. And that's because that essentially means that people can walk around with those diamonds at any given moment and just pretend that they're fake diamonds. That does get very dicey. So it will probably become an issue, I bet. However, most of the time, we don't lose them. But in this case, if we do lose them, because there's many times in many cases that we lose them for a second, but then all of a sudden they come around the corner and I see their car again. I'm like, I found him. At that point, is it now no longer valid? Because if that's the case, then we're effed. We'll never catch anybody. Because there's many times that you lose a person, but they still have...
I think it needs to be part of SOPs to start jotting down plates and shit like that, just to hold them there. Because if you have them at the scene, the getaway vehicles, it's a purple Audi with plates, this, that, and the other, then we have them. You know what I mean? Then that if there's a break within the chase, however long, whether it's 3 minutes or whether it's 30 seconds or 30 minutes, right? You can place them back at the scene. You know what I mean? And do fingerprints not work? Because I haven't seen a single case talk about fingerprints, and that used to be a whole big thing before.
No, because you as far as capturing a fingerprint, there's a couple things. There's not a fingerprint so to activate it now they have to shoot, so it's someone's gun, so it could be any of the four. So and then
to drop fingerprints?
No, to start the robbery they have to fire a gun now, so it's a bullet that drops. So a bullet shell casing drops. So it could be any of the four. So there's no way to link that other than to one person. So if we don't catch the right person, that's not going to match up. So that will be no valid evidence. Then you go into the back, and I'm not sure if it's even dropping fingerprints. I'd have to look and see if it drops fingerprints. But fingerprint linking has not been, because there's no way to look in the MDT and get their fingerprint. So unless we go and copy paste the entire fingerprint and paste it somewhere in the MDT for every single individual, we really don't have a whole lot of helpful information.
So the whole mechanism doesn't work anymore, because it used to tell you when prints come up. You could run the print and it'd tell you, right?
Correct. It used to work that way, but it doesn't anymore. So fingerprints are fairly useless. I mean, they're helpful if we did the extra work, which means we would have to do. I don't know where we could paste their fingerprint ID, but we'd have to paste their fingerprint ID somewhere in the MDT. And then have to kind of look for it. So there's ways we could do it to build the case. But in this case, I mean, based on what I read, it's pretty cut and dry. They pull up, they see the one guy who is Dakota Boswell wearing all the tattoos that he always has. We always know it's him. He never makes any effort to cover his tattoos. So we know it's Dakota. He's got a motorcycle inside there. He flees the bank after the robbery. Why they let him keep the stuff, that I don't understand.
And again, we'll have to talk to Buck, but I think it's because he knows he can't place him at the scene of the crime.
And that could be.
Charge him with robbery.
Yeah, because
charge him with robbery if we can't place him there. You know.
And it could be a while.
He got away.
See, but that's so crazy. Why would you get away and keep the stuff on you? That makes no sense.
We're also talking about Dakota, who's fucking stupid. So,
I mean, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
We really do have to talk about the planting thing because
yeah,
like Alan does work for me, and I don't think he's that stupid. Like, now again,
well, I mean, he could be out doing it
whatever,
and then just get taken hostage and be caught off guard.
He would, but the whole reason you guys search them is for plants, right? Because that can be an issue. So I think it should be policy that in the event that anything gets picked up that's illegal, just gets removed from their person, because the reason we're searching them is for planted items. You know what I mean? And there's no way to prove it otherwise.
Well, similar in a couple ways. So as well, if it's a crime and someone's a witness, they come to PD and they are essentially searched through a metal detector anyways. Like, right? So they come in and...
Like every time I've been held hostage, they pull me outside, they search me right then, right?
Correct. That's what we do. Yep.
Right. So he was using a thing and he got searched and there was stuff on him. So the reason you...
So there's no way to exploit that, correct? Because we would take it away.
No, you would just remove it from them. So it's a loss of items, even if it...
So even if the crims were trying to gain something, they're losing it. Okay. So the crims aren't even gaining anything.
The person who is held hostage, say it was their shit.
Yep.
But if we enact this rule, then we just get it off the streets anyway. You know what I mean? Like, we can't...
Unless they admit to it.
Argument. Unless they admit to it, but they're always going to hold... I mean, granted, they're like, hey, do you know where this came from? No, I don't. The guys must have put it on me. If they're smart, they'll say that. And they're like, yeah, that's mine. In which case, okay, cool. Throw the book at him. You've got him on possession.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is just like the whole reason
the whole hostage thing is rough because we have too many friend hostages. That's the problem. So you got to be.
They're actually getting a lot better at it. I will say that in the past it has been that way, but I've been picked up several times. Like legitimately, like
guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the court.
I'm like, and I've seen it happen. I'll call them in every now and again too. I'm like, hey, just saw a guy get taken at gunpoint over here. Just be on the lookout for something. Like, gotcha. We'll keep that under advisement. You know, but they're getting better about it. But still,
well, I'll tell you what, man. I gotta be honest. I think the radio worked fucking perfect.
I do too, and people
that worked really good. Because it came across clean. There was no not hearing it. And for the most part, people stayed pretty quiet. Couple disruptions back there, but it worked pretty well. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. We just got to get the chairs working. And this courtroom is huge for sure. So, but all right, man.
At some point, we'll do that tomorrow. Like the one that I have my custody. We'll do that tomorrow. Or something. It's getting late.
I'm out of town, so I'll be on my laptop probably. So that'll be perfect. I'll just be kind of goofing around.
Cool.
But I'm gonna go ahead and fly out and come back in, go do some cop work. All right, homie. Thanks. Good job, man.
Yep.
All right, chat. Well, I'm not gonna lie. That was fun. That was fun. That was a good time. I hope the city's still... there's only 17 in, bro. We'll go try it a little bit. That was cool. Using a bike on a bank robbery. Yeah, if it's a local bike, though, those things aren't that fast. I mean, really, we've got the bikes pretty well narrowed down. But I know there's a big change to all cars soon. This weekend, I think, coming up. We're slowing down the city pretty much. Josh, how are you? Sorry, guys. Court was like having documents open and everything. It was tough. But I'm actually gonna end the stream. Or wait, let me think here. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end that one for Court RP, and then I'll start another one. Okay. All right, I'll be right back.